Evening folks, this is I think my 11th video now on my Prusa Mendel iteration 2 build. At a glance, not a lot has been accomplished since my last video, but in actual fact there's been a significant amount of progress, not all of which is readily seen at the moment. I finally got some of the cap screws that I've been waiting for. I've got some countersunks cap screws. I've got some M3 by 16 long cap screws as well. These were two items which was delaying any progress on the build. So, what have I done since last time I spoke? Well, you might see that this bearing and its holder is now mounted in place. There's not a whole lot to be said about that. It's just a bolt goes through a bit of plastic, a hole in the plastic, and there's various washers used as spacers, and the belt will run on that bearing there. So, having said that, I'm now actually contemplating, instead of using the belt, which I cut maybe just a little bit too short down here, I might use it on this axis. So when the new belt comes, I will then use it down here. So the other thing I've got the bearings for in here now. I don't know if you'll be able to see that. I've got I've got all four bearings in place now, and I've still got to put the nuts onto these bolts, but there, that's just a fiddly little job that I'll get around to doing later this evening. So that will be all secured into place, and should run relatively freely when it seems to be sticking there a little bit, which it wasn't doing the other day. So yeah, what else? As you can see, I've got the larger board here in place now. I'm just going to pause it there for a moment while I tie the Z-axis up out of the way, and then I'll show you what I've done there. Okay, so I have the Z-axis tied up out of the way for the moment. I'll draw your attention to the fact that I've now got the little cap screws in place down here as well. That one's a bit slack actually, I need to tighten it up at some point. So these are all just short cap screws that penetrate through the plastic, and small nuts are retained actually within the body of the plastic itself. There's little hexagon recesses printed out, integral to the body of the plastic component. Again, I've got the motor mounted here temporarily for the moment, as I'm still waiting for the pulley wheel for here. Once the pulley's arrived, I can then mount the belt over the bearing which I highlighted earlier, and that then will clamp, excuse me, to this carrier in that sort of fashion. Okay, and the other one will obviously go around the pulley and clamp there also. And we've got a couple of clips here, which these are no, that's not the one, sorry. these are the clips which were originally purposed for that, intended for that purpose. God, get your words out. But as you can see, there's a little slot or a little recess followed by a raised area, then another slot, then a raised area, and another slot. That's meant to interfere or intersect with the teeth on the pulley. Now that is what is known as a T2.5, sorry, a T5 pitch. My belts are T2.5, so that's not really the correct clip, but I'm just going to squish that down there tight, and hopefully that will be sufficient to hold the belt in place. If it can hold the belt for a short period of time, I'll actually print out replacement clips for that purpose. So moving on, I've done a little bit of work to the extruder as well. This is the extruder body and the motor assembly. It's assembled, but only temporarily. I think there's going to need to be adjustment done. I don't know how clear that is with the light. Let's see if I can get a better picture on this here. Okay, that's maybe the best I can do for you at the moment. As you can see, the hobbed area of the bolt doesn't quite line up with the hole which penetrates through the body of the extruder. So I think that would likely result in the filament jamming. Excuse me. So I'm going to have to do some adjustment to that. I think all that will be required is a larger washer in at the back here, just so that the bolt will be pulled in this direction by a millimetre or two. So I'll deal with that when I get a chance. I haven't done any other work to it bar that. I was having a little investigation of it, as in to see how it operated, and it actually, well, in areas it operates relatively smoothly, and then there, that teeth there seems to be having a little problem. So does that one, and then you'll get another period where it's there's another tooth that's catching a little bit. So some of these teeth are, well, as I've explained previously, a little bit rough. So that's all going to need to be looked at in detail and dressed up, so that those small issues are resolved. So this extruder, by the way, excuse me, will basically mount on top of this platform up here, and the whole apparatus will then slide back and forth. So that's a little bit of progress, although I'm now, it's progress in so much as I've identified yet further work that's needing to be resolved, or issues that need to be resolved. So this is getting on now to the actual base. This will be the base that will be supporting the hot plate. As you can see, I've got the countersunk screws in place now. I drilled that one just a little bit too deep. Best I could do with the tools I've got. and that will sit in that sort of fashion there. I think I'm going to raise this off the base by maybe 10 or 15 millimeters using a small spacer of some description. I haven't decided about that yet, but that will be the location of the heat plate or the hotbed. Now, having said that, this base is basically now fitting into place. I've cut a recess here for it to pass this bearing and the guards for the belt, and likewise at the other side I've done the same, and that fits all quite nicely now. It's not secured at the moment because I've still got some further work to do. I'd like to just maybe round off the edges, and I've got to put a hole in the centre for the thermistor, and I've still got to put the holes underneath this board for the clamps which will hold the belt. But I'll remove this for you for the moment because it's just sitting there for the time being. And this here is the board now. As you can see, numerous holes have been drilled and countersunk, and that's all now operating relatively good. She's quite free at that end, but for some reason she seems to just catch a little bit there. You see that? The action's not very smooth, so that'll need to be looked at as well. So lots of little niggles. I'll need to tinker with it a fair bit, I'd imagine. It'll get it to print out correctly. This is bolted down now to the bearings. I've got the nuts in place, the nuts and bolts in place there on the underside. I've still got to install the pinch bolts here, so that's another item to do on the list. If you remember from the last video, there was concerns about clearance here, so I've widened these slots, and I don't know if you can see that from that angle, but I've also increased the angle of this chamfer here so that it does not interfere then with the bracket. So that's another small step forward. Just put that back in place for the time being. So, oh yeah, before I do that, when the new pulley and belt arrive, I still have to drill a hole in the centre here and figure out what I'm going to do, how I'm going to clip the belt into place. I'm just thinking now that I might try clipping it on the underside. In all the drawings in the book, the belt is clipped in that sort of fashion, but I don't see any reason for it not to be clipped down underneath like that. I could have a couple of countersunk holes there for holding screws in that sort of fashion, and then the clips could be retained on the underside possibly. I don't see any major reason for that not being possible. Just maybe a little bit awkward to fit, but I can turn the upside down, not the board, but the machine upside down to do it. So I think that might be what I'll do. Having said that, that might put, the belt there will have to come up over the top of this bearing, and then it'll have to go down underneath that board. So that might cause, I don't know, some sort of stress on the belt. It's got a good 20mm there. And it is flexible enough. I would have thought to just fit down there and then get pinched over here. I don't see why not. And then the bearings are what, 20mm, so the belt then going back in that direction will have a good bit of clearance for so it's not going to be rubbing on the clip. I'll need to look at that. That could work out quite well. Although I can see why, if the belt is just lying flat like that, it would be, it might possibly operate in a better manner, I don't know. So yeah, still plenty to do. I've got the electronics ordered up now though. That's the final thing I need to mention. I got the I've decided to go for the Arduino Mega. I don't recall the actual CPU that's fitted to it, but it's the 2564 or something along that lines. I've also gone for the ramps 1.4 shield, and I've got 5 stepper driver shields for the top of the main shield, the ramp shield rather. So I need to figure out where I'm going to mount that. I'm tempted to try and have all the electrical components installed in this sort of area underneath the board, or underneath the printer, but I don't know how much work that will involve. I've got to consider the layout of all the wiring and how I'm going to keep that organised. I've still got to locate end stops for the travel on the axes so that there's no issues there. So yeah, there's a lot of tweaking, and I'm still got parts en route rather, and I've still got parts that I'll need to order at some point. But yeah, it's coming on. It's now December, however, and I was trying to get this done before Christmas, and it's not going to happen. Not a chance in hell. The more I get into this, the more I realise how much needs to be done. I frequent the RepRap chat room on the IRC channel. I was going to mention that to you one time before, but the video cut out before I could get it out. And there is lots of glitches and issues to overcome before reliable prints can be achieved. So that's 19 minutes and 30 seconds now almost. So this camera only takes 20 minutes of video footage in one go, which is probably just as well. So I hope you've found it interesting, this little update. As I say, there's been a significant amount of work put into this, but it's not readily seen. So until next time, take care folks, and enjoy your RepRap.